Xiang Yu tell his troops, we will only have a successful battle if we all fight forward and never look back. So he ordered his troops, bring only 24-hour ration, and then once we cross the river, we will sink all the ships. And then this victory made him famous. That's when all the other warlords started joining him, and then he had 300 or 600,000 worth of troops under his command.
That's a lot, yeah. 300,000, 600,000.
Correct. What's up? What's up?
Welcome to our coffee shop. I'm your host, Midak Leon, and welcome to another episode of the KopiBros show presented by the Chit Podcast Network. Now, for those of you that are tuning in via YouTube or any sort of podcasting platform, hi again. Thank you so much for giving us a try, for giving us a listen. We're just a Singaporean duo that are going to learn about some warriors. Yeah, I was going to say that. Speaking of warriors, I'm joined by our very own Singaporean warrior of the Chit Chatter. I'm joined by Jing Yong. Jing, how are you doing?
Yeah, today is a good day. Don't need to go work.
Yeah, you say you're going for a run later?
Probably stopping by my favorite prata shop again.
Are you going to time it just nice so that you reach at dinner? That you just eat your prata or something like that?
Normally I'll go for maybe 5 p.m. Then I'll end around 5:45, 5:30. Then I'm time for a nice drink, this kind of thing.
Okay, so we're recording this on a public holiday. It's Hari Raya. So just want to wish everyone that is celebrating Hari Raya, Selamat Hari Raya. As you go for your run, would the prata shop be open?
Oh man, I hope it's open because my shop vicinity, that area, right? They got 3 prata shops, but 2 of them is in the, how do you say, they're part of a coffee shop. So they can sell their stuff, but they cannot sell that kind of Indian Muslim drinks.
Okay, yeah, they can't sell drinks because there's a drink store there, right? Correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. If you looked at our thumbnail, you know that this week we're going to be continuing our series learning about some warriors. And today, the region that we're going to be touching on is China. Jing Yong, have you been to China?
Yes, I've been to China when I was younger. I've been to Beijing. I've been to Shanghai. I've been to Yunnan. Yeah. Or rather, when I was younger, a lot of things is you go there, this is a nice scenery. But I think if I have the chance to go back China again, I would choose to go to all the historical sites. I have more knowledge about the history and stuff there now.
Yeah. Have you been to the Great Wall?
I've been there twice actually.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still very remarkable, when you look at the Great Wall, to think that, how the heck did humans build this, right?
It's crazy.
Mainly it's a defense, right? To go and block the outsiders from invading.
The main people that they were blocking against are actually the Xiang Yu, which was the northern tribal people that were in power before the Mongolians.
And then after that, there was okay, the Mongolians are scary, might as well just keep the war here.
Yeah.
Technically, Mongolia is nearby China, but it's not known for being with China, correct?
Yeah, they have a very long, complex history because the Mongolians, or rather before they was known as Mongolia, they were actually just a scatter of different tribes there. For very, very long, they were looked down upon by the so-called central China because to them, these people, number one, no culture one. They don't have Confucianism, this kind of thing to rule their country. So to them, they really just hunt, they pillage, then it's a bit like the Vikings. It's a bit like Vikings. They just pillage, they have fun, they go marry, this kind of thing.
So do you want to shed some light on who are the 2 people that we're going to be talking about?
Interestingly, the 2 warriors I chose, they were actually not emperors. They were fantastic warriors in the sense that they led wars, they killed a lot of people, they were fantastic warriors in that sense. They didn't have a chance to become an emperor per se. As in, they're not written in the history to be emperors. Of course, they are rulers in their own right, in their own land, but they were not emperors in the so-called mainstream China history. So I'm touching on Xiang Yu. Xiang Yu is the Xi Chu Ba Wang, or the person that came into power right after the Qing dynasty, which is Qin Shi Huang, most of us know. He was one of the 2 main rulers, 2 main powers at that time before Han dynasty was built. And I'm also touching on Genghis Khan, Chen Qi Si Han.
The iconic Genghis Khan also.
Yeah, iconic Genghis Khan.
Go, let's dive right into this week's episode. All right. To kick off the episode, Jin Yong, who is the first warrior we're going to be looking at?
Okay, we're going to be looking at Xiang Yu, which is the first warrior. Okay, so he had a very short-lived life. He died when he was 30 years old. So,
oh, really?
Very, very short-lived life, yeah. But
I didn't know that.
yeah, correct. But for a person that wasn't an emperor, right, the record of his exploits is actually quite extensive to the point that people could actually piece his life together. There is actually a play about him, which I'll touch on it later. To give some background about how he came into power. Okay, so after Qin Shi Huang died, right, the first emperor of the Qin dynasty that unified the central plains of China.
Mm-hmm.
His second son, Qin Shi, which is super useless, He's so useless that the person in power is actually a eunuch. And then a very famous story is that the eunuch brought a deer into when all the ministers having meeting lah. And then the eunuch say this is a horse. And then the ministers that say yes, this is a horse, he allowed them to stay on. Those that he said no, this one is not a horse, this one is a deer, all pull out, all head gonna cut off.
Oh, okay. Is it because he just wanted like undying loyalty, or like you don't question what I'm going to say?
Correct. But this is from the eunuch, this is not from the emperor himself. Which shows you how useless the second emperor is.
Interestingly enough, the guy with no balls got the most balls.
Yeah. Yes, correct. We have a rough understanding of how turbulent or how useless the emperor is at that time, which is why a lot of so-called righteous people or people that saw the opportunity to gain power start rising up lah. So one of them is Xiang Yu. Even at the start, right, he was already a very, very capable person at like fighting. Okay, so when he first started, right, he get his uncle called Xiang Liang. I forget his name whether I pronounce it correctly. So he got his uncle. The two of them started gathering soldiers, and then they just started like fighting, slowly conquering land,
piece by piece, like smallly, like yeah.
Correct. So one of his earlier records of like his earlier battles, right? He said, legend has it that one person can kill 100 people in one battle. And I don't know how true it is.
Wow, are you serious?
So all the battles that he fight, I won't talk one in one. I won't talk in detail. But there's this one battle that is very important because this battle solidified his position and solidified his power. Because after this battle, right, all the other neighboring warlords all came to him and say, hey, we will join you in your conquest because we believe that you will be the king one day. So, Battle of Julu. Okay, Julu is the name of this place. By his calculations, the army that Xiang Yu brought along was supposed to have 72 hours worth of rations. And then they're supposed to sit a boat, cross the river and assault. Xiang Yu tell his troops, we will only have a successful battle if we all fight forward and never look back. So he ordered his troops, bring only 24-hour ration. And then once we cross the river, we will sink all the ships. Correct. So, true enough, he led the troops to victory. And then this victory made him famous. That's when all the other warlords started joining him. And then he had 300 or 600,000 worth of troops under his command.
There's a lot, yeah. 300,000, 600,000.
Correct. Okay. But of course, at that time, right, when he was busy consolidating his power in the west, in the east, there is this unscrupulous and shameless person called Liu Bang. Okay, Liu Bang is a hooligan. Like by records, right, he was actually a hooligan. Like they say that he will go around cheating people money before he actually became emperor. But because I don't know why, when he go look at your future and then say, like, this guy I think correct. Something like that. Then he said that this guy has the life of an emperor. So then people started following him. Then he became one of the main forces on the east side. So the two of them had a very strange relationship. Because before they started their conquest on each side of China, right, they were supposedly sworn to be blood brothers there.
Wow, are you serious?
Before they were famous, before they became command 600,000 troops that kind, or 300,000 troops that kind. Yeah. But the funny thing was, I don't know why, Xiang Yu, right, when he was in power and when he was on the up, when everybody had his, everybody respected him, everybody said you should be king, right? He actually battled and conquered the west and then tried of course, he tried to turn back and conquer the east lah, and then had a battle with this Liu Bang for the
east lah, like the
correct,
majority
so-called
of the
unified China. But after 1 year of battle, right, he captured Liu Bang's father and then used his father to threaten him. Say that if you
Blackmail.
don't come out and surrender, I'm going to kill your own father. You know what Liu Bang replied? He said, it's okay, we are sworn brothers. If you kill my father, means you kill your own father. I'm totally okay with that.
Wow.
Amazingly, according to records, he decided, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to call a truce. So they called a truce, right? And decided that China will be divided into half. He will be the West King. Liu Bang will be the East King. So they actually draw up a agreement and sign and say, okay, from now on, we will each take half of China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when you play the Chinese chess, right, you see the river in the middle, Chu He Han Jie. This was the river that separated the two of them.
Okay.
Yeah. The river is called Chu He Han Jie.
Is that actual river that separates, like, that is used as a middle ground?
Yes, there's an actual river. But I forget the river name, just that is used in Chinese chess to write there, Chu He Han Jie. The agreement there, drawn already, right? So, of course, Xiang Yu very happy. He said, okay, I can go back to my hometown glorified. I have done my job. I have brought glory to my hometown. This Liu Bang, very shamelessly, right, he decided, this is the time for me to backstab this Xiang Yu. So he called on his forces, right? His other two main fighters. One is Han Xing, one of his main generals. The other is Xiao He. Xiao He is one of his main politicians.
Okay.
They gather his force together with him, right? They launched a 3-pronged attack on Xiang Yu when he was least expecting it. Surprise attack, kena chase, and then he was quite badly, hit by this surprise attack lah. Then he was trapped in this area, right? Then because the battle doesn't happen 24/7 ma, they battle in the morning, then at night they'll rest ma. This Liu Bang is damn shameless, you know. He asked his soldiers, right, to sing the folk songs of the Chu army, you know, at night, so that they will rest and still hear their folk songs and feel desolate at night.
And somehow it's like blood brothers mean nothing to him, I guess.
Correct. Like
Okay,
I want to come into power like that. Yeah, so this is actually a Chinese idiom called 四面楚歌, means you're surrounded by songs of the Chu from all directions, means that you're all surrounded, you cannot run away.
Oh, okay. And it's like a song of death, right? In a way. It's like,
yes,
you're
correct.
incoming death. Then they just think about it while they're sleeping about this song. Oh my god, it's just like them.
Yeah, like you know that you're fighting a losing battle, right? Then you still reminded that this is your hometown song, you know. I think this is like, this is like the worst way to ever go out, like, to die.
Yeah.
Xiang Yu at that time, he was also very demoralized. But by his side, right, was his concubine called Consort Yu. Y-U.
Okay.
For all the consorts and concubines that we know in history that did bad, right, she did something that is that actually reignite Xiang Yu. She actually killed herself. She said, you lost your fighting spirit, then I don't see any point for me living on anymore. So she killed herself. Then Xiang Yu just revitalized, you know, he's like, I cannot be like that. So he brought his leftover troops, that few hundred, right? They actually managed to break out of this surround. That means by the troops they're surrounded by, they just break out, you know, and then actually managed to run to another place.
Oh, wow. It's like an insane sort of, the Great Escape. Really?
Correct. Yeah. So
Pigeonhole
this
them
scene of like Xiang Yu and his consort and how the consort killed herself, right, is actually a very famous Cantonese or Chinese opera scene that is being passed down by generations. I don't know how to appreciate, but it's one of the very famous scenes. Okay, so when he finally break out, right, he know that he's going to lose anyway, because by the time he ran to this new place, right, he's actually left with, I think, 28 men only. But even then, he still carry on fighting until he came to a river, you know. And then, according to records, there was a boatman waiting for him there. The boatman told him, right, I know that you are fighting a losing battle now, but if you're willing to get on the boat, we can bring you back to your hometown. You can consolidate your forces, then you can come back again. Your hometown people will still welcome you. But Xiang Yu said, I have no face to go back to my hometown. This is my horse. My horse followed me for a lot of battles. Please take him and let him retire. Then he just stand there. Of course, he put out his final fight, but in the end, he still got slaughtered by the Liu Bang soldiers.
Okay, very, very interesting. So this Liu Pang, correct?
Yeah.
Did he manage to unify China after that?
Yes, he managed to unify China. So one of the biggest stories I learned from this is that you want own self warrior, no use one. You cannot return in history as a loser. But if let's say you like Liu Bang, you shameless, never mind. But if you surround yourself with people that believe in you and can so-called make up your mistakes, right? You can actually become king.
Xiang Yi, was it always his idea to be like, okay, I want to unify the entire China, or like, or I'm okay with half? You know what I mean? Was it always his intention to, I want to unify?
This is what I don't understand, because by right, every warrior that goes to war, right, will have that dream of unifying China. The records I read didn't really say whether he has that dream, but I think his action is very weird, because a lot of times he just say, okay, enough, stop already. I think this is enough. I wouldn't go all the way like that. So maybe he just thinks that it's enough to just go back to his hometown and glorify his hometown. No?
Yeah. Or maybe, right, he really did value the relationship as blood brothers. Because he knows that the East is like, technically is yours. Then eventually we'll come to a head-to-head. Then he's like, I don't really want to do it. That's why he maybe so willingly was like, okay, let's just do an agreement. Then after he signed, right, he let his guard down already, because he's like, okay, like you take your side, I take my side. I'm content with the middle thing lah. Because
the focus of this story is Xiang Yu, I never share so much about Liu Bang lah. But Liu Bang actually, he surrounded himself with a lot of successful people. So his top three most, closest aide, right? One of them is Han Xing. Han Xing is a very, 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 very good general. And then before he had Han Xing, he had Xiao He and Zhang Liang. So Zhang Liang is his strategist. Xiao He is his politician. They help him like do all his internal administration lah. If y'all got chance to go Taiwan, right, and y'all go to the Taiwan Imperial Palace Museum, because Taiwan Museum exhibits all the relics of the Imperial Palace ma. So Xiang Yu's sword is actually on display there.
Can I ask, right, did this Liu Pang, after that, did he die? Was he killed by another, like someone that wanted to unify China, or is it like really he just died a natural death?
Actually, the funny thing is, his ancestors, his descendants actually managed to slowly, as in his dynasty got carry on lah. He got passed on his legacy to his descendants lah. He also started letting the power get to his head, because he let his own emperors, the Wages, started meddling in affairs. So then he started like suspecting like, like my three able people they helped me build the empire. Then I need to give them land. Is it that they will slowly consolidate power and then become a threat to me? So he actually colluded with his wife to kill Han Xing. Xiao He, right, seeing this happen, right, had to start acting crazy and like, I don't know what to do, and then start getting stupid. Then they're like, okay, this guy is not a threat to me anymore. Zhang Liang was the smartest one. When Liu Bang built Han Dynasty, right, even before he could ask him to stay, he just say, okay, I done my job. Thank you very much. I'm going to retire and go back to my homeland.
Yeah. I will not be a threat. Goodbye.
Yeah. Correct.
Don't worry about me. I will take the CPF retirement and stay somewhere else. Yes. Very interesting. I like this story. It's always nice to get a good old like battle out scene, but quite sad lah. You know, sometimes the ruthless person always tends to come on top lah. All right. Now we're going to move on to our next warrior, Jin Yong, the iconic
Genghis Khan.
Okay,
so to give a bit of context about what's happening at the time, Genghis Khan, number one, wasn't his actual name. Okay, so his actual name, I don't know how to pronounce, so I'll not pronounce. You all can go find. It was the second half of the Song dynasty. Okay, and at that time, right, Song dynasty was actually very weakened already. So the tribal people, right, on the northern side, they started coming to power and starting to think about like, hey, I want to go into the Central Plains and so-called gain legitimacy and become like so-called unify China lah. Because for a very long time, unifying China means taking over the Central Plains of China. The Mongolians was one of these tribes. Just that they lived to tell the tale because they managed to conquer all the tribes and even conquer all the way down to central China and build the dynasty called Yuan dynasty. Although it lasted only 99 years. 97 years. Yeah. Let me start with the story of Genghis Khan. Okay, Genghis Khan, he had a very sad childhood. Because at the age of 9, his father died. He basically had to fight for his life and fight for his status even from a young age. Because some records say he has to battle his half brother just for food or just to like get respect. Basically, take part in a lot of fights in a lot of battles because they are in constant battles with a lot of other tribes for the how to say, because they'll always test one and they'll see like this one like maybe we can try and like fight with them and see whether they're ready to be taken over. It's a bit like gangsters lah. Through his own through his own powers, right, he managed to gain the respect of the people, and then he managed to slowly get troops that will allow him to go out and so-called slowly conquer other tribes. From a young age, right, I don't know whether it's because the Mongolians, they live a very barbaric life, or whether it's because this is something he learned in battle that you cannot give your enemies the ability to come back and backstab you. Some people say is that he fought his first few battles, then he learned from experience. But I think that it could be down to like, because maybe the Mongolians, they live a very Nordic and tribal life. So to them, killing and pillage and this kind of like just kill your enemy is like the right way to go right?
Yeah,
because
it's just like
if
a
you
normal...
leave their son will come back and revenge on what?
Yeah, correct. It's like a very how do I say like it's just normal way of life. We just do it.
Correct.
There's no room for empathy, this sort of thing.
Correct. From a very young age, when he like started conquering all these tribes, right, he learned, and this one is very visible from his later battles, right? Like he will really go all out to kill people and to like pillage them one. He won't accept surrender, all this. I mean, yes, if you are useful, yes, like those those enemy commanders that he thinks is useful. But all the so-called quote-unquote normal people, like all the women, all the children, right? If he see no use for you, it's kill or burn.
He's like, I can do taxes. Like, we don't really use money.
Yeah. Correct. Only those that are commanders can like command the fight. Or he like think that, you give me some suggestions that good enough for my own administration. Then he will sort of think that, okay, you're useful, then I can put you into my team. How to say, one of the most ridiculous thing I've read is that during one of his battle with the tribes called Tatars, he actually came out with a rule and say anybody taller than a cart axle, you know that kind of old carriage, the big wheel on the old carriage.
Yes.
So anyone taller than that, right, all kill. Yeah, the rest you're okay to live on.
What's the rationale behind that?
Probably if you are too young, you won't understand all this hatred But anybody that is old enough to exact revenge on him, he kill.
Oh, okay. I get it. It was not a height thing. It was like an age thing.
Correct. So all this culminated in him in 1206, the year 1206, right? He proclaimed himself emperor of the Mongolians, in total, after conquering all the land. He called themselves the Mongolians. And then he gave himself the name Genghis. Khan was actually meant king in the Mongolian language. Because he was so good at fighting and so good at conquering, people oversee like the basis he lay in terms of the administration part that allowed him and his sons and grandsons to slowly conquer other pieces of land. So after 1206, when he became emperor, right, there was actually a small period of time when he actually focused on consolidating his power, scrape away a lot of these tribal people, the rule about like, hierarchy, like you village head, we have to give you the kind of respect. Then the village head can pass on to a village head's son, this kind of thing. He all excel. Then all the lands that come under him, right, he focused on the policies that will swear absolute royalty to himself. Towards the back, right, when he started like commanding all these soldiers, I think they really had loyalty to him. But that was also why I feel the dynasty only lasted 97 years, because when it came to his grandson and his grandsons, then got issue with like, I want to be the biggest, then like all the power consolidated on top. Then they don't trust anybody else. In 1211 to 1215, I think this is the crucial period and one of the crucial battles. Because remember at the start, I say that the Song dynasty was actually getting weaker, and then there were a lot of tribes that were looking at the Central Plains and want to go in. So one of the main tribal or main country, country, because they declared themselves as the Jing dynasty. Jing is like gold, Chinese for gold. Okay, They were another tribal group that were already going into the Central Plains already. That means they were in the midst of fighting with the Central China people.
Okay.
So much that they actually get, they win the battle, right? So much that the Chinese people have to shift their capital southwards, Because if you don't shift, Yeah, they will slowly eat up the piece of land. This to me was where Genghis Khan is smart. Because although he's very good at fighting, although I believe he has the power to overrun the Qing people, but he waited for the Qing people to be so-called fight with the Central Plains, right? Fight so much that, okay, like you gain success, then you think that you're ready, right? Then he start his battle like, wow, overstep. So like they fight halfway through the Central Plains, right? Suddenly this Mongolian started launching, then within 4 or 5 years, the whole Qing dynasty fell.
Oh, shit.
By right, if you are like on a roll, right, you're like, hey, yeah, let's go. We'll continue conquering lands. But he actually focused on consolidating his power. Then he focused on like, okay, I think now is not the right time to attack the Qing people yet. We let them get engaged in battle deep enough, and then we go in.
Let them wipe each other out a bit. Then after that,
correct.
Yeah, just at about to finish, and let's go over and take over lah. Wow.
Correct. Even after that, right, he didn't immediately go into the Central Plains of China because he feel that the resistance is still too strong at the moment. He instead expand westwards because the west side got another group of people called the Xia people, XIA. This one really, 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 really tough battle. They almost lost.
Okay.
In a sense that because the Xia people were very, very good at fighting also. In fact, right, Genghis Khan died before the Xia people surrendered.
Oh.
His death was very, very funny because he went on some hunting trip, he fell down, then he started getting very sick. Then like, nobody can understand why he's sick. So his son keep telling him, okay, I think you should go back to Mongolia. You just rest and recover, okay? We will like hold the fort here. He said, no. We'll continue the battle against Xia. Then, true behold, a few months later, he really died. But because his influence was so big, right, the Mongolians actually had to keep the secret of him dying so much. They really kept it until 1 month later, right, they outlasted the Xia people and the Xia people surrendered.
Yeah, because if once they take the ultimate leader away, right, the morale of the people will drop, the confidence of the enemy will be increased. They'll be like, hey, he's not there. You know what I mean? This type of thing. Yeah.
So after he died, right, his grandsons and his sons carry on his legacy. And then a few years later, I'm not sure how many years later, in 130 something, his son didn't complete it. His grandson was the one, if I'm not wrong, is Kublai Khan. Anyway, his grandson was the one that actually so-called unified the whole China. And this was the largest, in terms of geographical area, China has ever had. The current world map now, right, the outer Mongolia part was also part of China then. And then the grey relationship between Taiwan and China at that time, Taiwan was actually that time part of the geographical China also at that time.
Okay. That one of the areas that they wanted to conquer was Japan, but they couldn't get through, right?
Yeah, correct.
Because of the samurai.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
They face a lot of...
Interesting.
Yeah, they face a lot of... They face a lot of resistance there, yeah. I think the rest I don't cover because the rest is not his exploits. All his sons and his grandsons' exploit, like go to Europe lah. How they fought all the way until London, they had to stop and come back. Yeah. In fact, they even went to India, Then they wanted to go to central China from India, but they decided India too hot. Cannot slow down my troops. So instead they went back their own way and come back. Okay, it fell towards the end because how do you say number one, there was an internal fight because his grandsons and grandsons they started getting like drunk on power. Then there was a power struggle. Like every emperor that came up, there was a power struggle. Then there were people they were infighting. And then of course at the same time they were facing a lot of like resistance from the Han people also because they were not the 80% of the people. They were like some northern tribal people that actually came and took over them. So there was actually a lot of all these small groups within the Han that got resistance and slowly coming out. So after Yuan dynasty, right, when towards the end, of course people were poor, they didn't like the Mongolians' rule. And then there were like started people like gathering and uprise. So one of them was actually Zhu Yuanzhang. Zhu Yuanzhang is actually, he had a lot of things. He's a beggar, he's a monk, he's everything but rich.
Okay.
But I don't know why. People just gathered around him. And then, of course, he did a lot of right things. There's a very long story, which I won't get into detail about. But he managed to actually take over and build Ming Dynasty.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about this, like the China history, right? It's really a lot of revolutions, a lot of like change of power, change of dynasties. And then like you said, right, everybody just wants to unify China. Then I think
the central plains, I don't know why.
if Liu Pang went up against Genghis Khan, who do you think will win?
Genghis Khan.
Bruh, I think can suck it, Liu Pang.
I tell you, Genghis Khan, not just him, but the people under him, his family, if you read about the things they do, how they pillage all the way to London. And then the most ridiculous thing I read, but apparently it's true, is that because they live on they live in the wild, so their body actually carried a certain kind of germs that the Europeans were not resistant against. So they actually died because of disease also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, you're so dirty.
Yeah. This is why the internal struggle for power actually killed them, because they fought all the way to London, right? They stopped because they had to go back and claim their right to the throne. So they had to go back to fight for the throne. Yeah. If not, they could have continued. Then who knows if they continue and be successful, right? Europe might be a different, no more Angmo, this kind. Or maybe the Angmo and the Chinese will have mixed even more.
I think, the Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great, the two of them, it's really if they really had the chance to conquer just 10 more years, all of us would be either speaking Greek or Mongolians.
Alexander the Great died too young.
Very, very interesting episode on warriors. Jinyo, thank you for covering this topic. What do you think we can cover next time?
We can probably do Nordic warriors.
Oh, okay.
I can do one on Ragnar Lothbrok. We can do the Volsung saga. That's a story about warrior also, but it's a mythology. Quite interesting.
Okay. So if you guys are interested in Nordic sort of warriors and mythology, you can stay tuned to our next episode. We'll have one every month based on this new warriors scene, because previously we did the mythology ones. So if you're interested in mythology ones, we'll attach that into the bio as well. But okay, that was our first warriors episode on China.
Get out of here!
Oh, look at the time. The coffee shop is closing. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed the episode, please remember give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe. We have episodes that drops every Monday. But in the same time, also, if you're into football, we have the Football Kaki that drops every Wednesday. And also, if you're into fun and interesting game show formats, you have our big podcast here, the SG Draft Podcast, that drops every Friday. Also, if you're into fun and interesting tournament polls, we have a weekly tournament poll that goes up on our Instagram every Monday to Thursday. It's a reoccurring knockout. And this week's tournament is going to be the greatest warrior group. So it will be the Mongols versus the samurai, the Spartans, the ninjas, the Vikings, the knights. Okay, there's a bunch of different ones that we're putting up for this tournament poll. And you can head over to our Instagram every Monday to Thursday to go and vote for which set of warriors you think is the ultimate best. Okay, in the meantime, we hope everyone has a nice public holiday today and you have a good week ahead. But remember, a kopi a day keeps your troubles away.
Remember, it's not enough just to conquer. You have to learn how to seduce.
You forgot to say that it's quoted by Genghis Khan. People just think that it's you saying this.
This one, I don't know, it sounds like social escort team.